Welcome to this month's edition of the Laurel Firewatch. I'm your co-host, Richard Blankenship.
And I'm your co-host, Art Staub.
We hope everybody had a safe and happy holiday. This is our first show for 2013. Today, we're going to talk about smoke alarms. We're going to interview one of our newest female members. Goes by the name of Cupcake, and we'll let her explain to you how she got that name. And we're going to tell you about our new elected officers. We had our new annual election here in January, the first week in January. We have some new people, but we also have some returnees. Like my co-host here, he went back in as a trustee for the department. We're also going to talk a little bit about our safety tip for today. And right now, I'm going to turn it over to Art so he can introduce you to all the new administrative officers of the department.
The administrative officers for the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department, returning as the president is President Vic Whipple. Senior Vice President is Robert, better known as Pop Grant. We have a new Junior Vice President, is Todd Bayless. Todd's been a line officer for many years, served as a Junior Chief Officer off and on. I guess as he's gotten older and busier, his time available has dwindled, so he's come into the administrative board, and he's going to be our Junior Vice President. Our Secretary continues to be Rosa Mayer. Our Financial Secretary continues to be Steve Parator. Our Recording Secretary is Corinne Kobeck. Our Treasurer is Ken Wilson. And our Chaplain is the wonderful Reverend Warren Litchfield. Board of Trustees members are Vice Chairperson Pat Dillon. Pat Dillon was a career member for the county for many years. When he retired, he came to be our active volunteer for us. 3-year term members will be Dove Robinson, Tommy Skaggs, Jim the Poodle Coatisboat, Brian Cavanaugh, and Joseph Robinson. And I returned as a 1-year Board of Trustee member along with Mike Sellner, better known as Grape.
Now, Artie, can you just explain to the people what the difference between the administrative officers are, and I'll explain to them about the line officers and what they do?
Administrative boards, we handle the business affairs of the volunteer fire department. We have a budget we have to work with. We can't spend money we don't have. So we take requests by the chief and deputy fire chief, and we make sure that whatever bills we accumulate, we have the funds to pay for. We work on bylaws, set up rules, enforce. Sometimes we have to enforce some behavior issues, but we handle the day-to-day nuts and bolts gist of the fire department, making sure that we have gas, tires, and a fire truck to ride on, basically.
And you guys meet right regular, don't you?
We meet at least, the regular company meetings are twice a month, or twice a month on Monday nights, and then the opposite Monday nights, we will meet as an administrative board, and we usually meet at 7 o'clock in the evening. Hopefully we get done by 9. Sometimes it runs a little later. We're going to probably have some extended sessions here in February and March. We need to prepare our budget so we can present it to the city. We're very fortunate at the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department in that we receive a lot of help from the city of Laurel. And that's good because it saves a lot of fundraising on our part. But we have to present our budget to the city of Laurel. They want to know what we spent it on, and make sure that we keep our finances in the black as they should be.
And I'll introduce the operational officers. And I know that the operations works extremely close with the board and the other administrative officers. As a past chief, I know that there's times when I need to buy certain equipment and stuff like that. I have to meet with the board on a regular basis. At that time, when I was the fire chief, to explain to them, this is what I need, this is how much money. And then, they usually gave me what I wanted. They might ask you once in a while, let's wait until we get our next quarterly check before we do this or that. But it never had anything that hampered operations or anything like that. So those years I was chief, I did learn a lot dealing with the presidents and the board. And like I said, we work extremely close. This year, the fire chief this year is Trey Kelso. Trey came up the past couple years. He was assistant fire chief. Then he became deputy fire chief. And then this year he is the fire chief. He's got a lot of responsibility. Again, he meets at the company meetings, and then he has to meet with the board as well. So they keep a tight rein on what's going on as far as spending, and if there's any personnel issues or anything like that, he will address those. The deputy fire chief is DJ Hall. DJ was the assistant fire chief last year. DJ is a young member. He's a very intelligent guy. He's very smart. He does a good job. He's also a career firefighter with the Baltimore City Fire Department. And one of the things we want to do this year is we like to introduce to you all the officers, administrative and line, each month, so you'll get an idea who they are and what they do. Brad Lovell is the assistant fire chief. 3 years ago, Brad was the fire chief. He took some time off as needed. I can definitely tell you that I've been there. You do this for 2 or 3 years, you definitely need to take a few years off because it is time consuming. It's almost like having another full-time job because you're always there. You always have some kind of meetings or you have to do some kind of training. The other assistant chief is Darren Grant. Darren was a member years ago at our department, came up through the ranks up to captain and stuff like that. He moved out of the area, so he joined another department in Prince George's County. He was a member of West Lanham Hills. He just recently came back. He moved back into this area. Darren's another young officer, very intelligent, good fireman, and he'll do an excellent job as one of the assistant fire chiefs. Our truck captain is Kevin Brown. Kevin's been around for a few years. Kevin does a real good job as a captain. He's got one of the most active duty crews in that department up there. He has a strong crew that comes up every Friday night. You can always count when you go up there that you're going to do some kind of training and some kind of dinner together and keep it all together as a group. Kevin also is a career firefighter. He used to be at Loudoun County in Virginia, and he just took a new job with the DC Fire Department. And we wish Kevin well with that new position. Engine captain is Wes Burns. Wes has been around for a while. Wes actually works for Prince George's County. He's, I don't really want to give too much information on him because of the job that he does. The other engine captain is Greg Matee. He'll be happy that I pronounce his name right, Matee, not Matisse. He always used to get on me about that. The truck lieutenant is Matt Cora. Matt's been in there for like a little over 3 years. Young officer, full of energy, willing to learn. This young man's going to move up pretty good through the ranks, and he's going to be an asset to this department. And I think Matt's going to do a good job. And he just had a new baby about 9 months ago, and we wish him and his family both well and lots of fun. Our engine lieutenant for this year is Dave Ballard. Dave was previous lieutenant last year. He is going to stay again, and Dave does an excellent job as well. And our last lieutenant, we have Kevin Lazaro. Kevin is new this year. He was to the lieutenant spot. He was a sergeant for about 6 months, and he decided he wanted to try a little bit more, and he ran for the lieutenant's position and moved up in the ranks. They have 3 sergeant positions. They have not appointed anybody at this time. There was a few people that they wanted to appoint, but they had to wait a couple months before they'll have enough time in the system, and a couple of them also that was interested had to complete a couple classes. So once they're done with that, he will fill those sergeant spots. And the reason why we made the sergeant spots back in the early 70s was to get more people in office, so that we use that as a learning position so they can move up in the future. So that's our line officers and administrative officers for the year. We're looking for a real good year, and I think the group of people that we have in there is going to do a fantastic job for our department and for this city. And like Art stated early, the city does work well with the department. They do finance some of our budget, which we do appreciate that. because we run so many calls there. You know, you're running over 5,000 calls a year. It's hard sometimes to be able to go out and do a fundraiser. Our Ladies Auxiliary also, at our annual banquet, will donate money to assist us to buy equipment and stuff like that, and we appreciate everything that they do. Again, we want to talk about smoke alarms. I bring this up every month, and Art is also I guess wasn't an investigator anymore. He used to be a firefighter, but now he's like a fire marshal, and he does daycares, inspections like that. And he's noticed a trend of some of the smoke alarms are not functional. And I bring this up every month because it's very important that you have an operating smoke alarm. Again, I can't stress how important it is to have that, and I don't know what else to do to make you understand how important it is to have that. What I would like for you to do is get with your family and try a little drill with your family. Set the smoke alarm off and have everybody get up and get out of the house and time it. See how long it takes you to get out and have a place where you want to meet. You time it and see how long it takes you to get out. Then you come back, you set it off again, but this time you blindfold yourself, time it how long it takes for everybody to get out of the house, and you're going to see a big difference. And the whole reason for the smoke alarm is early activation, so that you have time to get out if there's a fire. Most fires start small, but you want to have that time when that thing activates to tell you something's going on so you can get out of the house. It's very important to have that. What we're going to do now is we're going to interview, like I said, one of our newest female members, and she'll explain to you how she got the name Cupcake. She comes from a family of firefighters and EMTs, so I guess that's one of the reasons we know she was going to be there. But she's young and she's really moving on. I think she's already got EMT and some other classes, and Art will interview her and we'll find more about her.
All right, we have here a newer member of the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department, Tiffany Regina Lagier.
Yes.
Okay. And in the great tradition of the Laurel Fire Department, she's earned a nickname, and that is?
Cupcake.
Okay. And you say Chief Custer gave you that name?
Yes, and I hated it.
Okay.
And it stuck because I hated it.
Okay. I actually thought Jimmy gave it to you, but
Nope.
Okay. Well, anyway, the fire department has certainly evolved over the years. It used to be a white male-dominated position, volunteer career, with guys with haircuts like me, big necks, big shoulders, tall, skinny, but white male kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. But we've certainly have progressed over the years to where we've wised up and allowed female members to come into the fire department. Certainly the way has been paved well with members like Dove Robinson and Robin Skaggs and members like that. How did you get into the fire department here at Laurel?
Well, my family is very fire-oriented. I have a bunch of members down at Branchville. None of my immediate family was in the fire department, and it's always something I always wanted to do, helping the community and helping save property, and it was just a dream, and I finally got the time to actually get into it.
Well, I'm certainly glad you decided to come over to Laurel. I mean, Branchville has a pretty good, strong, dedicated bunch of guys and girls. And we certainly appreciate your dedication because you're up there a lot.
Yep, I live there.
Oh, well, that's why she's there a lot, because she lives there. How good of a benefit is it to live at the fire department?
There's a couple of different things. Rent's free.
Okay.
I mean, that absolutely saved money that way. And you also get the calls in the middle of the night where you get your experience from. It's good guys that I live with, and it's just like a brotherhood. It's like family.
Okay. My EMT was 80 hours. How many hours was your EMT?
I think mine was 135,
Okay.
around there, roughly.
And then you have your EMT nowadays, and what else do you have to do besides just take the basic class?
Meaning as like practicals, and
Yes.
you have to do practicals, hands-on. It's memorizing your protocols. It's a lot of work,
Okay.
but it's well worth it.
And so then how many total hours do you think you have invested just to be eligible to get up and ride an ambulance at the Laurel Fire Department? How many hours invested
I
of
couldn't
training do
even
you have?
fathom how many there are. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Is it too much?
No,
Not too much.
no,
All worth
I
it.
don't think. Absolutely.
So obviously you're one who loves, well, you love to do this because you're on it a lot.
Yes.
Do you prefer riding EMS over riding fire and rescue, or? Because it's
Certain
busier?
days it's different. You know, you wake up, want to ride the ambulance a lot. I'm actually starting paramedic school, so that the EMT has kind of helped with that. But it's kind of, we run a lot of calls on the fire engines as EMS calls.
Yes.
So it's kind of the same.
Well, and Laurel started that process of running EMS calls back in the 80s. There was a time they wouldn't even run the fire engine on
Right.
right down the street. So fortunately, with the line officers and things over the years, they progressed to where we run it on EMS calls, and then we're probably running more EMS calls on the fire engine than what some people are running on the ambulance in this town. How much sleep do you really get at night? Do you get a good night's sleep when you sleep in?
No.
No.
You usually get woken up about once or twice a night, and it's usually about the same time every night, so you know it's coming. But there's few nights that you actually get to sleep the whole night through.
Okay. As far as being an EMT, what kind of skills and what kind of practices of medicine are you allowed to do?
On the ambulance,
Well, as an active modern day EMT.
you can do a lot. There's a lot of medication that you can give. I mean, it's just your protocols. You've got your glucose, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
The epi.
You use glucose, you use
Epi.
epis.
You can administer aspirin, Tylenol, oxygen. What else can we do? Activated charcoal. I mean, those are your basics, but that's your basic life support when you're on the ambulance.
Okay, so you're allowed to administer that to a victim of any kind of medical issues or whatever.
If the situation calls for that protocol, yes.
Okay, okay. When you administer that, what do you have to do as far as, you just automatically administer that? You got to
No,
get
depending on
permission?
what drug it is or what medication it is, you might have to consult with a hospital before you give anything. But overdoses, you have to consult with poison control and a physician, not a nurse, but a physician online, get the okay to go ahead and give it. But it just depends on what it is.
Okay, now when you talk about online, how do you proceed with that?
You would call EMRC, then you would ask for,
Okay, EMRC is what?
yeah, I don't know what it's called.
All right, I know enough to know EMRC is the radio channels they use as
Right.
far as calling for help.
Correct. I thought you meant
People in the
which one.
field can talk to a
You can talk to
doctor
anybody.
somewhere.
Correct. And you would call Prince George's Hospital,
Okay,
get a doctor's okay, and get their name, administer the whatever drug that they're asking you to do, that you're asking to give, and they'll give you the okay to go ahead and administer it. And
and I'm sure there's probably a lot of writing with this.
absolutely, there are
Okay.
reports.
Okay.
That's one of the things that we're very adamant about, especially if you love being an EMT and keeping your license, is you have to document everything from the time you get on scene to the time you left the patient.
Okay.
You have to document to where if somebody else, if you were to read my report, you were there. You could visualize what was going on.
Okay. Okay. Now, as far as that's medical stuff, how much trauma to work do you actually get involved with?
Quite a bit, especially if it's a trauma that the medics are going to ask you to go with them just for an extra set of hands. Accidents, we were on the Parkway, we were on 95. There's a lot of back injuries, neck injuries from accidents, but there's a pretty good amount of trauma that we run.
Okay. Do we have a lot of industrial issues in our first due area, you think?
We do have a lot of warehouses in our first deal.
All right, so
We do.
that'd be a lot of back and leg and ankle and things there as far
Yes.
as warehouse workers, what have you. But as far as manufacturing, do we have a lot of that in the area?
Manufacturing?
to where you
sure
could
about-
get hands and arms and things?
Yes.
Pen and anything like that?
Yes,
yeah.
I believe there's a printing press
Okay,
around here.
okay.
Never had to run it, knock on wood.
Okay. Tell me about some of your trauma calls you have run. Anything that's been unusual?
I've ran just your basic accidents, your car accidents with significant amount of damage to cars where we've had to transport to PG trauma per our
PG trauma, okay.
per our protocol. And I've never had a true trauma, I guess you could say, where someone's limbs missing or something like that. But I've done a lot of accidents.
But you do train for those kind of episodes
Absolutely.
as far as...
Absolutely.
Okay. You never had to take anybody downtown to Baltimore to
I have not.
shock trauma or anything yet?
Not yet. Nope.
Okay. And what's your most severe medical call you've actually run over the years?
Working codes.
Working codes? Mm-hmm. And
Working codes.
Well, and they were older generation people? Younger generation people?
Actually, it's been anywhere from a 2-year-old to a 99-year-old.
2-year-old. That's a little unusual.
Yes.
Can you talk about that? I mean, what was that incident involving?
It was a drowning.
Oh, really?
Bathtub.
Oh, okay. When that involves, what do they do for the members on the cruise when you have a call such as that? Did you actually?
There's a debriefing afterwards. Children hit home to everyone, and if anybody tells you that it doesn't, they're pretty much lying to you, but children always get everyone. Sit down, talk about it. Who wants to talk about it? They give you, believe there's an employee hotline just in case if something, you didn't get debriefed afterwards and still bothering you. You can definitely call them, but we sit around, talk about it, and get it off our chest.
And that's good. That's one thing the fire department has done over the years is they've learned that we as providers are humans.
Right.
And you can only take so much of this kind of stress that's involved. I mean, lack of sleep, running these severe calls. You run a 2-year-old baby who's had a bad day in the bathtub.
Right.
This stuff is what can really eat at people after a number of calls, whatever. They've learned how to look out for the members, maybe get them off the line, out of duty for a while, give them time off. Excuse me. How much fire have you been involved with? I know you're a firefighter EMT.
I've been to quite a few fires. Have not ran one on the wagon yet. I'm always on the truck, the tower, but we get a little bit. They're usually in different counties, but ran a few.
Okay.
Working fires.
Have you actually worked from the bucket?
No, I have not actually worked from the bucket. I've climbed it, and it's very tall.
and I should explain that. Here at the Laurel Fire Department, we are fortunate that we were able to invest in a ladder tower many years ago. And it's got a large, what we call a bucket at the end of the ladder. So you can actually get up in there and work from a relatively safe caged position as compared to working off the end of a ladder somewhere.
Correct.
And it's certainly a benefit. It's extra large, and it's hard to get into position sometimes. And certainly there are times where you can hardly get it down the street, let alone put a ladder up on the roof somewhere. But now you say you're going to take a paramedic. Where are you going to take your paramedic at?
It's through. It's actually online. It's the new thing now. It's New York Methodist Hospital University.
Okay.
So.
Now that's where you're going to get the education part. How about the practical parts of that?
I have to go to New York.
You have to go to New York to get that.
Yep.
And New York Methodist is in the city of New York, or?
It's Brooklyn.
So
Brooklyn,
that's going to be
New
in the
York.
city then. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, will you have to ride with people up there as far as practical work?
Well, the practicals, there are certain places in Maryland that'll let me do things here, but I actually have to go up there for my clinicals and all that stuff, which, I mean, it's not that much time. It's about 6 months on and off.
Well, and you're young, and you're not really attached.
Right.
So you have a little more flexibility and freedom to move around
Correct.
compared to us old guys. We're pretty well fixed.
Right.
What's your goals here at the Laurel Fire Department? You want to get your paramedic?
Yes.
You want to?
I want to be chief one day.
You want to be the chief?
I want to be the
You
chief.
want to be the chief of the fire department?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I've got a plan.
Okay.
Give me a few years.
Give you a few years. Going to be a paramedic. Hopefully, we'll progress here where we can get some EMS officers.
Right.
and line officers for
Correct.
the EMS members.
That's a distant goal as chief.
Well-
I'll work my way up.
There have been some 25 and 26-year-old chiefs, but not in the Laurel Fire Department.
Right.
We'll put it that way. You
Right.
got to earn some time.
Oh, absolutely.
Do some street time. Certainly living in is going to get you a lot of runs.
Right.
How about your personal life? Once you get paramedic, you going to try to be a career member somewhere?
Absolutely.
Anybody in particular you're shooting for? Or?
I know this sounds horrible, but I don't want to work for PG because then it means I can't volunteer for PG.
Well, and I appreciate that.
I don't want to leave where I don't want to forget where I came from.
Well, and that's why Kat and I work the way we work, because we can still volunteer at home and have a job somewhere else.
Right.
But, and certainly, and this is not personal, old white guys, and we have these colorful young girls here now. It'd be interesting for how your red hair will go with your white Chiefs hat.
We'll just dye it a different color so it'll look
Yeah,
right.
maybe that's what we need to do. All right, but this is, I remember Cupcake. She's a very active, very energetic, very dedicated member, and I appreciate you being there a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming and talking to us.
No problem.
All right.
Anytime.
All right, that was a pretty good interview, Tiffany. And her, like I said, her name was Cupcake. She sleeps in a lot more years and starts running all these calls at night. They'd be calling her Crab Cake. Like it should be crabby. But it's good to hear her say that she has a goal to be fire chief. I think it would be awesome for her to be our first female fire chief for that department. And for her to stand up and take paramedic, I was a paramedic for years, but when I took it, it's nowhere the hours that they got to put into it now. And it's a much better program than when I was into the program. But it's a lot of time, and it takes a lot of dedication to want to do that. And we wish her the best of luck on that. Just a little safety tip. It is cold month for the next few months here. Talk a little bit of snow and stuff like that. One of the things that we asked you to do as the citizens to help the department so we can help you is after the snow stops, please clean your sidewalks off and your porches and stuff like that. And if you have a fire hydrant close to your house, we'd ask that you would dig that out so it would be much easier for our personnel to find the hydrant if we had to lay out some hose. But our biggest thing is keep our sidewalks clean and your porches so that our personnel can do their job and not slip and fall and hurt themselves. The mayor's open house this year it's March the 3rd. It's a Sunday from the hours from 1 to 4. I know they'll put some banners out. We like people to show up. There's different organizations here that you can get involved in and talk to. The fire department will be here for sure. The rescue squad, the police department, Public Works, and a lot of other organizations throughout the city. It's a real good time.
Explain your CERT team. That'd be
The
interesting.
CERT team will be here. That's called the Citizens Emergency Response Team. It's a group of volunteers that went through a program. It's like a 30-hour class or something like that, and they teach them how to deal with disasters, how to assist people. And just like a couple weeks ago when we had the flooding, the CERT team was activated. People came out and they rode with some of the people in the city trucks to assist and help them get people out or whatever needs
And
that they
it's
want
not
to do.
fire rescue oriented, it's just,
No, it's just whatever they need. Sometimes they might direct traffic, might help evacuate people. They might have to search a house or something like that. They'll be part of a team. They're all trained to search. They're trained to cut off gas. They're trained to use fire extinguishers. They're certified AED CPR. So they get a fairly amount of good training.
but if you're an individual who's looking for something to do, this is something you can step into.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They offer classes throughout the year that the city does. Doesn't cost you anything. All you have to do is sign up and take the class. Also, the police department has what they call the auxiliary police, and they also have what they call the police alumni, which is consistent of volunteers that do things to help the police department. If you're interested in being a member at Laurel, we sure would love to have you. We're always looking for new members. We have a variety of membership. We have a regular active. We have life. You get life member after you're there for over 25 years. We have administrative members, which assist the people downstairs, which is the board of trustees and the presidents and stuff like that with administrative skills like typing and stuff like that or anything that they can help with. And also if you would like to be part of the active group to ride the fire trucks, we'd love to have you there as well. So one of the things that we were talking about briefly is we want to come up with a new format for our program this year. We'd like to get, again, to you, we'd like to introduce all the officers, both administrative and operational, to you, who they are, where they came from, and what they do and stuff like that. We're looking to do something with a kids' corner, start doing some stuff for show and tell for kids, and those kind of things. Again, if there's something that you would like to see us do on the show or something you would like us to talk about, you can contact us at www.laurelbfd.org. Leave a message and it'll get to us, and we can sure work something up. We have a large number of experience here for over the years between Art and myself, and we're sure we can come up with something decent for you. That's all I have. Art, you have anything for closing?
Just remember to check them smoke alarms.
Good point. Thank you.